Hey everyone, it's Patrick Camuso from Camuso CPA. It's a very busy day for me, but I wanted to go over a brief update that is a pretty big development from an IRS tax enforcement standpoint. You'll see here, this has been a case that I've been covering since, for several years, but since the Justice Department indicted him and he was having his case was starting last year, where Frank Algren III has basically been the first criminal tax evasion prosecution centered solely around cryptocurrency taxes. So this is basically the first guy that's going to jail for inaccurately filing his tax returns. So I'm not going to bore you with all the details of his case because I've covered it at length in separate videos, separate lives. I've covered it on my podcast, The Financial Frontier. But basically, this guy purchased thousands of Bitcoin on Coinbase and had to sell some of them in subsequent years, inflated his cost basis to lower his tax bill. And he found himself indicted by the Justice Department and was facing 3 to 4 years in prison for each count of filing a false tax return wrong. He ended up pleading out to the case, I think, for 2 years in prison, and then there's going to be supervised release after that. Some of the details regarding this are still coming out, and one that just came out yesterday is Bitcoin investor ordered to hand over crypto keys in a landmark case. So this article is out of Cointelegraph, but you can basically see this across the media, this being covered now. So a Texas federal court judge ordered Frank Algren III and any associates to hand over any crypto public and private keys, accounts, and access codes. So not only is this guy going to be serving 2 years in prison, have supervised release after it, but he has to turn over his keys. And as the saying goes, not your keys, not your coins. And they are not his keys anymore. So you'll see this article goes on. Frank Algren, who falsely underreported capital gains on over 3.7 million between 17 and 19, owes the government about 1.1 million. And a federal court judge, Robert Pittman, on January 6th ordered Algren and any of his family, friends, or representatives to identify and provide any physical devices used to store cryptocurrency, along with any public keys, private keys, seed phrases, or passphrases. So here it is right here, the order itself. Cointelegraph's included it in this article. You can check that out. So I'm not sure if it's in this article. Let me see, because Algren is reportedly sitting on it. He liquidated a few mil, but he's sitting on a substantial amount more than that. Let me see here. Yeah, so it's not saying how much he had. I've heard in other reports it's like 200 million or so. Like it's a significant amount. I think the number was 275 million. I would have to call in some other tax articles to find it here. But he's got to turn over his keys to everything just because he underreported this part that he claimed on his tax return. So look, in 2015, Bitcoin was about 465. He purchased 1,366, and then he sold around half of it 2 years later. So do the math on the other half. That's what they're probably going to be taking his keys for. So and then it says here he was ordered to serve 1 year of supervised release after his 24-month prison sentence. So this is the big news of the day here is that not only is Frank Algren having to serve in prison, he's now required to turn over his keys to the IRS. And I don't know if they noted it here. I may have read it in another one. So basically, this court order, it's not in this article, but they're saying he's not allowed to dispose of any crypto unless he gets like prior court approval or unless it's for his basic living expenses. So we're going to see where this goes. But as of right now, he has been ordered to turn his keys over to the IRS, and there's restrictions that are basically being placed on his crypto. So this just goes to show that tax enforcement is not something to take lightly, and the IRS will be coming after people's crypto, and the consequences are extremely significant in terms of loss of control of your funds, loss in control of even your time, energy, and freedom, because Frank Algren is going to be going to jail. So according to the IRS's website, as of last year, only 25% of people are reporting their taxes, and that means there's a 75 non-compliance rate, and they claim that is from data that they've collected from exchanges. So we're already seeing a lot of tax enforcement at Camuso CPA, and we're assisting taxpayers with that. Usually they're going to get a tax notice from the IRS, and they come to us, and we're going to have to go back and recalculate several years of their accounting, and then work with the IRS to arrive at what an accurate calculation is. Usually when the IRS are going to do your calculations, they're not going to be accurate. They're not going to be favorable to you. You're going to have a lot of capital gains overstated. So if you're one of the 75% that's not in compliance, and you think the IRS doesn't care about crypto or is overlooking crypto, that's the furthest thing from the case. I'm expecting this landmark case to be the first of many, and 2025 is going to be a very big year for tax enforcement related to cryptocurrency. So if you're in that 75%, now is the time to get into compliance and get up to speed on your tax filings. So if you undergo one of these audits, you're able to stand up, you're able to substantiate the claims that you've made on your tax return, and you don't end up like Frank Algren III, who now doesn't even control his private keys to his Bitcoin and other assets. So I just wanted to pop in with a quick update on this. There's been a lot of other headlines, and I'd love to get a chance to cover them all. And I will be doing an episode on the financial frontier shortly, where we just go over some of the headlines in addition to the regular interviews I do, because there's just been so much going on. And this is one interesting case of many. I'll also encourage everyone to sign up for my newsletter, the Digital Asset Digest. We cover a lot of these topics and even more topics that I can't get to on videos, and it'll keep you up to speed on these things. This just came out yesterday, and it'll be in our newsletter that's going out Monday. So we are extremely on top of these things. We're watching these topics. So if you want to stay up to date on these things, go sign up for the Digital Asset Digest. You can find that on my website at CamusoCPA.com under our resources section. We're on Substack, and there's also a way to sign up for our newsletter on LinkedIn as well. So I encourage you guys to check that out. I think that's about it for now. I think this is a very interesting case, though, so I encourage everyone to check it out, and I just wanted to shed some light on that. So until next time, I'm Patrick Camuso, signing off.